Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Ivan, and today I'm going to teach you how to code Dialog using React Native and MUI, which is Material UI. Let's get started. So, I'm coding my app here. This app is basically a quiz app. It's not going to work because I just messed it up. So let's fix it. And the point of the app is to take a simple quiz and see your results. But before you submit your quiz, you want to get a dialog saying, hey, are you sure you want to submit this? Let's code that up. That's the point of today's lesson. And we're not going to make it from scratch, I suppose. We're going to leverage the UI library called Material UI, which you can find by going to mui.com. mui.com. If you go in Docs and click on Material UI, you'll find a component section. It's extremely helpful. It has a lot of different components that you can add and manipulate to your liking. Let's just go over some here. You can see everything that you might want to start from. Okay, we're going to go straight to Dialog, where you have your basic dialog. You can click out of it. And I suppose something more advanced like this one with the transition. So let's implement this one. Let's make it so that when they click submit on my test, they are introduced with a dialog they have to agree to continue. All right. We go ahead and we take this code example as it is, copy it, and paste it into our code base here. Now I have a components folder. This is a React.js project, and I made a folder inside of that called dialog, and within that a file called default dialog.js, and that's where I'm going to paste this code. Okay. Now the code is complete and not very useful right now, but it's going to give us a demo, and it's going to guide us basically on how to make it work for our own app. We save it. We go back to our main file, in my case quiz, and we're going to import it. Once we've imported it, let's see, we can just call it. Right now, we're going to take out any options, call it like this. Great. So the quiz is showing. You can see, oh, we have our component right here, slide in alert dialog. Before I show you that, let me show you the quiz here. You can select your answer. This is fake data, of course. Click next for the next question. And if finally, when you're at the last question, you'll be introduced to a submit button. And when you click on it, that's when we need to make things happen. Okay, so slide in alert dialog. Let's see what comes out of the box. Perfect, that's kind of what we expect. You can click out of it. You can click to disagree. Or you can click to agree. Okay. Now let's configure those functions and the Boolean itself that's going to be responsible for either showing or not showing that dialog. If at the top of your code, when you're defining your variables, you could have one called show dialog and its associated function to set it. We're going to start with false, and this is what's going to tell us if to show the dialog or not. So let's go back to our component and pass it. And we do that like this. The show dialog is going to be equal to show dialog. And we can save it, go over here. And here we can see that the baked-in code is using open and set open to do that work. But we don't really need to do that. We're going to close this for now, or rather comment it out. And instead of using open, we're going to be using show dialog. But this component needs to receive show dialog first. And this is how you do it. You can say, hey, we're going to take some props and we're going to deconstruct the props kind of like this. So we can say const show dialog equals props. And that's basically the same thing as doing props.showDialog, but if it's a little cleaner, especially if we're going to pass more props, which we are. Cool. We're going to pass it props. We're going to take showDialog from that and use that as the toggle to open or close it. Let's see if it works. It doesn't. Of course. Why would it work? We're not actually setting it ourselves. What we need to do is in the submit function. You can see that in the submit function, all it does right now is it gives you our own alert. Hey, okay. So when you go to submit, the modal was showing something like this. It was just a dummy function to say, okay, I at least was able to hit this when I hit the submit button. Let's get there again. So if you click on this, it's going to get to a function just to show, okay, yeah, we're able to get to this function, ready to submit. But this is the default alert, and we don't want that. We want to replace it with the fancy dialog. So instead, we're going to get rid of this alert. And we're going to say set showDialog true. It's going to set the bool to true, and that in turn is going to set the modal to open. Actually, let's also get rid of the slide in alert dialog itself. Which is just this button within the dialog. We don't need it. We have our own button. There it is. The submit button is able to open this. And we're still using those baked-in functions to close, but they're not going to work because they're doing something else. Okay, so let's see what's happening. In the dialog itself, we're able to see that, well, we took this button away. We just don't need it. showDialog is working, but on close, it's doing handle close. And that's not what we want because it's using something local. I guess what we want is to pass it as a prop. I'm going to go ahead and say handle confirm because we're going to need that function as well. They call it click open. Okay, so get these out. Handle close. On close, please do this function. Now, on agree, we actually want to do handle confirm. Even though we haven't passed them yet, we know that we're ready to receive them, so let's pass them. Handle close and handle confirm. Now, this is simple enough. We can literally just do something like this. Set showDialog to false. At the end of the day, that's really all we need. And for handle confirm, that's a whole other flow. We need to show the results page. So for now, we're just going to set a dummy function just to make sure that it actually receives it. Oop. Right? Okay, nice. When I clicked out of it, it went away because it's doing the setting of that Boolean. When I click on disagree, the same thing should happen. And when I click on agree, we get this function that's custom. That's great. That's what we need to move forward. So that's it. I hope you enjoy this lesson. Many more to come. Follow me, and I'll see you soon.